strive to communicate what he does for a living using descriptive language and analogies that people not familiar with electronics can understand. The purpose of his speech is to get to the point. One of the challenges of this speech is to do it without notes. The key reason he will be keeping his speech focused on something he knows well, his job. The title is My Job Description, Non-Nerd Version.
I have this problem that I'd like your help with today. My company has trained me to be a super high-tech nerd. Unfortunately, I also live in Manitou Springs, Colorado. And as you know, Manitou is a very diverse community, and I love that about Manitou. So my friends and neighbors are musicians and athletes and artists, right? Definitely non-nerd type people. In addition, my family has no interest in technology either. So when people ask me what I do for a living, naturally I want to tell them what I do for a living, but I haven't really given a lot of thought in explaining what I do to people that are non-nerds, like me. So what I usually do is I just say, I'm an engineer. And that leaves people with kind of a puzzled look on their face, wondering maybe he was good at math in school, or maybe he spends a lot of time traveling around the country on railroad tracks or something like that. I wish I could just say, I'm a teacher, or I'm a dentist, and people would immediately know what I'm talking about. But instead, I just say, I'm an engineer. I don't really get to explain what I do, and I love what I do, and I'd like to be able to explain it. So today, what I'm trying to do is practice explaining what I do for a living to people who are non-nerds. Sorry for the nerds in the audience. You'll have to bear with me through that. Okay, so I'm the product planner for oscilloscope and protocol analyzers at Keysight Technologies.
What?
Exactly. So you're probably thinking, now I understand the problem that Tim faces every day when he wants to explain what he does for a living. So I'm going to break it down. Oscilloscopes and protocol analyzers are products. They're just products like ovens or microwaves that GE makes, or iPhones that Apple makes. They're things that we design, manufacture, and ship to our customers from our site here on Garden of the Gods Road. Oscilloscopes are tools for engineers. And what they do is basically they allow you to see the signals on circuit boards or between circuit boards. If you've ever seen a circuit board, I think everybody's probably at least seen a printed circuit board, right? You can look at it, and whether it's working or working right, you can't really tell. But once you connect up an oscilloscope, you can see what's going on. You can see what's traveling down those little wires that make up the printed circuit board. And once you can see things, then you can measure things. And you can see whether those signals are too big or too small, or too fast or too slow, or if they're what they're communicating from one place to another, or if that communication is correct from one place to another. And if it's not correct, as an electrical engineer, you've got a problem. And that's what oscilloscopes do, is they help you figure out what those problems are in your printed circuit boards. Okay, let's switch now to protocol analyzers. Oddly enough, a protocol analyzer analyzes protocols. So what's a protocol? A protocol is really like a language. It's like a language like French or German or Spanish that electronic devices use to talk back and forth to each other. And you know a bunch of protocols. USB, who's heard of USB? HDMI, Bluetooth. These are all protocols that devices use to talk back and forth to one another. Protocol analyzers listen to that traffic and listen to that language just like our grammarian does here at Toastmasters. And they look for errors in that language. And this language is made up of words, and the words are made up of letters that are very simple, just ones and zeros. The words are then created by different combinations of ones and zeros and different timing of the ones and zeros that go back and forth on the connections between devices. And protocol analyzers look at that connection, those connections, and listen to that traffic and decide if there's errors or not. And when there's errors, bad things happen. Like, for instance, you lose connection on your cell phone, or your computer blue screens. Those are protocol errors. And our tools analyze and look for those types of errors. So let's now talk about, now that we've talked about the products, realizing that they're just products, just like any other product, right? Let's talk about the product planner, the product planner piece. So if you hold a product in your hand, before you can hold it in your hand, it was manufactured somewhere, right? And before it was manufactured, it was designed by engineers in research and development. And before those engineers in research and development designed it, someone planned the work for them to do. And that's basically what I do, is I queue up the work for research and development to design products that can be manufactured and sold to our customers. So I work with customers to understand what their needs are, and I also understand what our R&D teams can do, and I try to find that combination between the needs of the customer for oscilloscopes and protocol analyzers, and what our teams in R&D can reasonably do in a reasonable amount of time. And then R&D begins working on these products, and then they hand them off to manufacturing. The manufacturing group builds them, and we sell them to customers. So that's basically how it all works. So if you to sum things up, really, what I do is I line up work for R&D to create products that go into manufacturing that end up in our customers' hands. The products that we do are basically products designed by nerds for nerds. You might say they're nerd squared type products. Thanks for the opportunity to explain that. Appreciate it.